Hello, yes, it's the old Get here. How are you doing? You doing well? I am in sunny Spain. Lovely weather today. It's about 22 degrees right now, and what a wonderful day it is. But I'm here today. I do a lot of these videos, but by the time I've done one, and then I start recording another one. When I'm recording this one, there's things going on that are just surpassing what I'm doing. Things are moving so quickly in the UK, and for me, it's hard to keep up with all the rubbish that's going on. Now, if you remember my last video, I spoke about the Labour or the Labour Party, as it's commonly known as now, and the sleaze that was going on, the bunch of hypocritical, thieving, backstabbing, gift-taking, what else is there that they've been and become? People still owing money for tax, like Angela Rayner, who could possibly be the next Prime Minister. You couldn't write it in a book and it wouldn't be true. You'd say, this could never happen. But Steve Reeves, he's up to his no good. He's anti-Semitic sort of things that he said. The little bribes he's taking for football tickets, and David Lammy doesn't pay his taxi fare, argues the taxi. They're just full of it. They're all full of it. There's so many of them in the Labour Party, and I did my little bit to just show them up, and the fact that many of them are members of the Fabian Society, and I've noticed that the mainstream have talked about Fabian Society since I did my last video. But hey, there you go. I don't say I'm that famous. It's the old Get, and the old Get says what he wants, and that's it. Now, right, so today, I'm going to talk about, welcome, that's what I'm going to say, and welcome to a video about the hypocrites that are the Green Party. Now, I'll qualify that with what I'm going to say, or what I'm going to talk about. Here he is. He's the leader of the Green Party. And what I'm going to do, very, very first thing that I'm going to do, he made his maiden speech when he became the leader. And it's a rambling on all speech, but I've cut out about 6 minutes. Now, to set the scene by listening to the speech, don't worry, I don't want you to be subjected to the whole thing, about 6 minutes of rubbish, but I find what this man is saying to be not only rubbish, but to be dangerous to you, me, and society as a whole. So what I'm going to do, just to set the scene for the hypocritical Green Party, which have no bearing now on what they originally set out to do, and we will have a little smile about them then, but I don't think you can smile about them now. What is even worse, before we get into it, is that there's people that actually going to vote for them. And the calibre of people is amazingly, they've got to be as psychotic and stupid as the piece of people that are running it. But anyway, don't let me digress too much, because we've got a lot to get through right now. So let's listen. I've edited it down to as best I can, just getting the bullet points, the points that he makes. And he doesn't make all of them here because there's other things besides. But let's just go through. This was his maiden speech, and this is about 6 minutes of it, which I've edited down. So, Polanski's idiot speech. Let's listen.
We will end rip-off Britain, and we will make sure that the very wealthiest pay more tax. Taxing the wealthiest is only the beginning. Clean rivers, cheaper bills, and ending rip-off Britain does mean taxing the wealthiest to make Britain a country that everyone can afford. There will be people who go to sleep at night, and without lifting a finger, when they wake up, they will be richer, much richer. They will make more money in one night than everyone in this room could probably earn in an entire year. More than the whole of Bournemouth could earn in an entire year. That's why it's difficult to imagine because it's obscene. So we are not talking about taxing hairdressers or plumbers or ambition. It is time for a party that will tax the assets of the 1% to reduce inequality so we can have a country with universal free childcare, funding for SEND education, rural bus routes, climate investments, tax the wealthiest, invest in our public services, bring down bills by ending privatization. That's how we have a country we can all afford to live in. This is a party which is unafraid to say migration has helped make this country what we are today. And then there's our deputy leaders. Mothin, son of a steel worker, whose parents came from what is now known as Bangladesh in the 60s. Rachel, who, apart from a Danish great-granddad and a Welsh grandma, has family roots tied to England as far back as she knows. One brought up Jewish, one raised Muslim, one a child of the church. A leadership, 3 different backstories. In a country enriched by people from all over the world. The Prime Minister might call this an island of strangers. When Farage says jump, Labour might say how high. But the Greens will never dance to the tune of a Trump-loving, tax-avoiding, science-denying, NHS dismantling, corporate stooge. You might as well stay on your feet, because I'm going to say, we'll say it loud, we'll say it clear, migrants and refugees are welcome here! But don't think for a moment our horizons are going to narrow. When mass slaughter is happening in Palestine, we will not be silent. When governments try to silence dissent, we won't be silent. And when Keir Starmer, in one of the most deeply cynical and morbid acts I've seen in my lifetime, decides to recognise a Palestinian state at the same moment that his government is an active participant in the murdering of the Palestinians, then we will never be silent. Let it be heard across our country, but a call that is now echoing around the world. We must stop selling arms to Israel. We must stop sharing intelligence. We will do everything we can to stop the genocide. We cannot talk about stopping genocide without talking about the draconian crackdown on the right to protest happening against those taking action for Palestine, using terrorist legislation to arrest hundreds and hundreds of protesters for simply holding up a sign. The prescription of Palestine action must be withdrawn, and every parliamentarian, Labour, Tory, Reform, even Lib Dem, who failed to vote against it, need to hang their heads in shame. And so, my friends, it is down to us, the Green Party, to take a stand, say our rights, our liberties, are non-negotiable, and we will do everything in our power to protect both our privacy and defend our juries. If the Green Party is an environmental movement or a social justice movement, as if you can't speak up for our working class or LGBT plus communities at the same time as challenging the fossil fuel industry. So let's clear this up. You cannot be an effective environmentalist without talking about the deep inequality in our society. There are so many people in this country who need us right now. Now, last month, I thanked my boyfriend Richie, who works in palliative care. I got pretty emotional. I'm not going to do that again. I've got a speech to finish. But I was emotional because I see the work, both Richie and all his colleagues. I am going to get emotional. Both all Richie does and his colleagues do every single day for people in their final chapters of life. I remember years ago when Richie first started working at the hospice. I was worried about what every day would be like, dealing with the weight of working in such an environment. But actually, it's the complete opposite. They often say in hospices, no one enjoys life more than those who work with people who are dying. And so as well as thanking again my wonderful boyfriend, it's a moment to recognise how many people across our country are doing these jobs, caring for people, working for the public, showing kindness and compassion. That's the most patriotic thing I could possibly imagine. And while I'm thanking people, I want to thank all the patriots working inside the Green Party, because you're all working towards the goal of a better country, from our MPs, our peers, our assembly members, our councillors, our staff team, all our volunteers, every single one of you for putting in this work for our country. Thank you. We've got a huge amount of work to do. In just a few months' time, we have an incredibly important set of elections, and our sights are set high. Look at next year alone, and get ready for some bold politics. We are fighting to win our first ever directly elected mayor in Hackney. In fact, we're campaigning to win more seats in more places than ever before, and we are on the very cusp of winning our first ever Green seat on the Senate. The Green Party's moment is now. We are ready. Thank you, conference. Let's go!
Right. I hope you were listening well. Not a lot said about what's going on in Britain as regards the economy, except the fact that they're going to tax the rich, take more money from the rich. You know, the top 1% of England will just up stakes and leave. What do they not understand about rich people or rich owners of company or people develop business who sometimes suffer so many hardships at the beginning, and they fight through, create a great business, and then these plonkers come around, oh, you've got too much money, we've got to give it to it. No, you haven't. These people are the innovators. These people are people that make Britain, people that, you know, open business and that they employ people and they pay your wages. But no, let's tax them, shall we? Tax them to the hilt and it'll solve all your problems. That's completely bull crap. It cannot solve the problem. No mention of how many people are out of work, no mention of that. Always talking about other countries' welfare and not the welfare of Britain. You know, these people that stand for this kind of thing, I mean, an example, I'll talk a bit more about Jack Polanski, but before we go on to these people, AKA, his name is David Polden. That's what his name was before it was Jack Polanski. I think Jack Polanski is going to be his stage name. I was a Jew, and I'm not ashamed of my Jewishness. I've changed my name. If he was a Jewish when his name was David Polden. He hasn't changed. He's still a Jew. What's Polanski got to do with it? Bullshit. It's just a stunt. One of many stunts that this man has pulled. And I will go into how and where he comes from in a minute or two. But let's have a look at the type of people that could end up sitting in the Houses of Parliament. I mean, let's take a look at these two candidates first. I'm not going to say, not going to comment. I'm just going to play them out. And you then can see what I mean. There they are. Nice looking pair, aren't they? This is Nilton and Joel.
Hi, my name's Nilton.
And I'm Joel.
And we are your Westbourne Green Party candidates for the May elections. Ada, Joel and I have been out on the Brunel estate speaking to residents. A number of weeks ago, we raised with the council the breakdown of the Sunderland House lift.
Following our pressure on the council, the Sunderland lifts are now fully functional.
This also follows our work on the Brindley and Warwick estate at Polesworth House, where we raised concerns about repeated lift breakdowns. We managed to get the lift back in operation at Polesworth House as well.
And we'll continue to hold the council to account on these issues. And if you do have any concerns, please do get in touch. We are here to listen and take action more than anything.
Yes, absolutely. Joel is right. We are about action. And on May 7th, elections will take place. It's an election between Labour and the Green Party. Your choice is same old Labour or three hard-working Greens with Joel, Ada and Nilton, who will continue to hold the Labour Council to account on issues that arise. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. If you don't find them people funny, then you've got no sense of humour. Could you imagine those people in the Houses of Parliament with the green glasses, the short hair, look at me, I stand out because I made myself look different. I don't even know. And you've got call me by my pronouns or whatever it is they say these days. These people could lead a country. these people could leave Great Britain or any country where we are on the brink of war with. We have to decide lots of things that these people wouldn't even know about. But I just want to keep this scene going. Now, Jack Polanski, or AKA Davy Polden, now, he reckons he uses Keek's method of bringing change. Now, John Keeks, as far as I could find out, was a professor emeritus in the philosophy at the University of Albany, and Keeks received a PhD in philosophy from the Australian National University. Now, I've never heard of him. I've never heard of Keek or Keeks, or however you pronounce it, and his method of who am I and about to argue. It's all, hybrid intellectuals talking from bits of paper and know nothing of life. And Polanski has a lot of practice in it, he says. Okay, well, let's look at him. I mean, prior to his political career, he worked largely with the radical organisations Team Angelica, or Angelica, whichever way you say. Their co-creator, Ricky Beadle Blair, and John Russell Gordon do a lot of work around the ethnic minorities and the LGBTQ plus work. That's a mouthful. Now, and they've produced works like The Revolution Starts Here, very radical people, and you can see ethnic minorities. What about the indigenous people who've lived in this country from time and from the Romans times? These are latecomers, the ethnic minorities that they refer to. And no disrespect to them. A lot of them who've come to the country in the 50s and 60s have assimilated in a great way, but there's a lot that haven't. And we know who we're talking about, don't we? Yeah. Anyway, that's Ricky Beadle Blair. Now, what is Team Angelica? It was co-founded, as we said, by Ricky Beadle Blair, MBE, and John Gordon and Colleen Beadle Larcom in 2009. Now, it's a theatre and a film publishing company dedicated to creating thought-provoking entertainment and art by focus on outsiders. Here we go. It's all fringe crap, isn't it? The marginalised and the maverick spirit, whatever your background, whoever you are, you belong. And Polanski says a lot of his philosophy came out through the community work he did, and also working in the theatre like Team Angelica. Well, of course it did. Of course it did. He's a complete he's a plank, isn't he? It should, yeah, Plankansky. Polanski also worked with the Theatre of the Oppressed. Again, fringe. He wants to be a showman, but he's not got it in him. He hasn't got the look at him. He could never be James Bond. They run acting workshops and show people how to stand their ground against authority in real life. Now, again, these are radical groups of theatre groups that do workshops. It's about how they could stay polite but effective in challenging power. Whether that be landlords or police officers, teachers, anyone who might hold access to power. That's what they want to challenge in an effective way. And still keeping your cool. And he said he did a lot of work in that particular environment. The man is a loon. He's a complete off-the-board, out-of-spacer loon. I mean, this is what and it's kind of, how can I say, he's such past ventures prove Polanski's desire to help the unheard of a voice, something he practiced in his current role as a Green Party leader, spokesman for democracy and citizens' engagement. I don't think he does, actually, because they have one agenda. They don't have democracy as their agenda. So he's a little bit off-key right there. Of course, increasingly, we all get to know about his most famous claim to fame, which was increasing women's breast size through hypnosis. There's nothing else I can say. You've seen the man in action. You've seen his kind of take on the world, where he comes from, his background. I feel that he's a frustrated showman and he couldn't make it in show business, so he's trying to do it in politics. He has got a certain charisma, but I don't know what it is. It looks like Roland Rat to me. I mean, he's got the big ears, funny enough, and bad teeth. But there you go. It's not a good look, is it, for somebody who wants to personify his his sort of look. Now, again, we'll go back on who supports this man and his party. And I say, again, he kind of appeals to marginalised misfits, people who don't fit into the majority normal society. For example, like these people here. Let's go and get these out. Here. Now, can you imagine these people sitting on the front benches of Parliament? I mean, the dress code is amazing, isn't it? I mean, she looks like she's dying to go to the loo, but never mind, that's another story. So you can imagine these people. I mean, it just beggars belief that these supporters, just are completely at the ball. I mean, look at them, and they're all like that. They've all got their own pronouns. They're all on the margins of real life. They probably haven't got a job. They probably think that they are superior to everybody else. But this is just a small little fraction of the type of people that are in the Green Party. What scares me more, and I don't know why this is, but a lot of the people who voted Labour, who just can't vote Conservative or one of the other parties, are giving their votes to people like this. They're as mentally discharged as these are. Please, the country's near ruin now. Do you want it to be ruined completely? I'm sure you don't. But anyway, that's enough of Polanski, the leader of the Green Party. Yes, a complete nutter. So what I want to do now is move on, because, and like I did with the Labour Party, there is two deputy leaders of the Green Party. Not one, but two. Okay, so let's take the first one. Here he is, Mothin Ali, the co-deputy leader of the Green Party for England and Wales, has made history as the first Muslim to hold a deputy leadership position in a national party across England and Wales. Well, there you go. That's okay so far, you think? Wonder what he sort of things he sort of supports. Well, let's have a listen to him talking about the greater good of England, shall we?
So right now there's lots of talk around immigration, and there's even proposals for people to cancel indefinite leave to remain. Now, that affects so many families across the country, and families like mine. It's a real personal issue for me. My wife is not from this country, so if there was talk of cancelling indefinite remain and that policy really went forward, what we'd end up doing is separating a mother away from her children, a wife away from her husband.
Well, there we go, straight away. He's one of the deputy leaders of the Green Party. And already he's talking about, Muslim, yes. It gets worse. I mean, he's a councillor for Gipton and Hare Hills. I'm reading this. Ali's journey began in Sheffield, born into a British Bangladeshi family. He credits his rise in political commitment to serving all members of the community, building trust through consistent meaning of engagement. Is this right? Is this what he did? Let's have a look. So he got elected, did he? Yes.
I hereby declare that Mohammed Ali is elected as councillor for Gipton and Hale Ward of Leeds City Council.
Palestine will be free! 3 years ago we started this campaign. I started alone. And Allah sent his angels to come and assist me. For the community of Hales and Gibson, who are fed up of being let down by the Labour Council, who have been fed up of being taken for granted, who have been fed up of being taken for granted, who have been fed up of being neglected by this rotten council, who are fed up. Look at the language you use, back off. Don't use this as a win for the people of Hales and Gibson. This is a win for the people of Gaza, who have been neglected. We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
He's going to do a lot for the British, isn't he? Eh? We will raise for Gaza. Allah Akbar. This is not about religion. It's about running a country. And even if it was, it wouldn't be about his religion. It'd be about the religion, the indigenous religion of this country, the one that our king's supposed to support. You know, leader of the king and the leader of the Church of England. But no, in this country, in Britain, you're allowed to practice any religion, and that's good. That's all good and fine, and most people do, and they follow their religion, whether they're Jewish, whether they Sikh, Hindu, Zoroastrian, whatever they decide, they are, whether they're Christian, of course, or even a Jedi. They follow and they assimilate, they get on with living within our society, and they follow their religion very well. None of them have turned out and said, oh, well, you've got to change this country because we don't like dogs, no dogs, no bacon, no this. It's ridiculous. What's wrong with you? You fit in or you F off. Simple. Go back to where you'll feel happy living under that law. Even in Muslim countries, these people that believe the things that they believe, they're not wanted. They wouldn't have them in Dubai. They wouldn't have them in the UAE. They wouldn't even have them in Saudi Arabia. The countries I've just mentioned, which are Muslim countries, are very forward-looking countries. If you're a Jewish person in the UAE or Dubai, you can walk down the street with your kippah on and have a conversation. Nobody's going to, because they're modernized Muslims. They are but the true Muslims, and they go forward and they embrace things that have been invented and they go forward. Unlike these people who want to stay in the 14th century. Anyway, this is him. Now he's also this is the type of person that you Labour voters and anybody else that's going to vote Greens, you're giving your vote to. They don't want to do anything for you. You don't count. You don't count at all. Okay? Let's just move on a little further with this guy because, again, Green Party, Mothin Ali calls on Lamy to help Palestine Action strikers. Now, Palestine Action have been pulled out now as a terrorist organisation, and they've got an hunger strike. As far as I'm concerned, give them an hamburger. If they don't eat it, it's up to them. Self-inflicted. Do what you like. You don't dictate to a country that has a different law for which you're trying to change, or you're trying to change the law. Okay? But this guy went out in support of them. Where is your allegiance to the whole of the community, to England? I don't believe that if you don't believe in English values in Britain and support the community as a whole, you shouldn't stand in any public office. That's my thoughts. But anyway, he was supporting Gaza and these people, which are obviously, I think they've tried to have it lifted, but I believe that the government did the right thing. For once, Starmer did something right, and they were. But again, he's let the Lords or the courts overrule him. He's got no cojones at all, as well, Starmer, and the rest of his party as well. Right, so that's the first of two leaders or deputy leaders of the Green Party. So I'm sure that the second one can't be that bad, can it? Can you think so? Well, let's see who that is, shall we? This is the number two, the second joint leader of the Green Party. Here she is. say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here, but just around where she lives, of course. She doesn't want them there. And she, let's talk about her, shall we? Her name is Rachel Millward. Okay, that's her name. Now, she's the second Green Party leader, and she lives. Now, this is where it gets really funny, because what do the Greens stand for? Remember what the Green Party is all about, save the planet and carbon reduction and all that rubbish. Right? She lives in a £1.6 million house with a swimming pool. It's got 6 bedrooms, and documents show that Millward's currently living in a property in Ashdown Forest, as I said, with 6 bedrooms, a billiard room, a pool. It last sold in 2021 for 1.624 million. And Rachel, she also lets out the top floor of an expansive mansion on Airbnb. Oh, yes. A company the Greens regularly campaign against. The house also has a sort of dismal EPC rating of E. Well, of course it does. And that means there's some work to be done there. A pool of the size of the property would account for 1.5 million tonnes of carbon dioxide annually. I thought politics started at home. So you can see what we've got here already, can't you? Just another champagne lefty activist. Don't do what I do, do what I say. Now, I want you to listen very carefully to her. And is she a true Brit or just a privileged nitwit? And listen to the topics. Listen to what she's supposed to represent, like the other 2 Muppets, the UK, in this fantastic Green Party. So listen to this and you tell me what she's missing out in this speech.
The Green Party is proud to stand with Palestinians. I'm so proud, as someone brought up a Christian, to stand with our Jewish leader, Zack Polanski, and the other Muslim deputy leader, Motin Ali, and to be absolutely clear in our call to end the genocide in Gaza, to end the system of apartheid, to end the occupation of Palestinian lands, and to play our part in the restoration of these lands that we have shamefully paid our part in destroying. I want to take a moment to remember together that hate cannot drive out hate, and to ask you all, in these times of heightened tension, when the far right are fueling with lies, when there is an unprecedented threat in this country to rip our communities apart, that we dare to keep the peace. And that whilst we stand strong together against injustice, we will not let ourselves fall where the far right would have us fall, into conflict and division, pouring hate upon hate. I want to remember the lives lost at the synagogue in Manchester, to send our love and solidarity to families there, and to send our love to our neighbours, the community around the mosque in Peacehaven. We all deserve to be and to feel safe, to be free, to worship, to work, to move across the land. We welcome the ceasefire in Gaza. Long may it last, but it will only last if the Palestinian people are given sovereignty and the apartheid system is dismantled.
Okay, well done, Rachel. Not a bad speech, but not a lot of bullshit, but bull crap. Sorry for my language. Listen, Rachel, you never mentioned the grooming gangs in England, and which I find strange. You also never mentioned the rapes that are going on all over the country. You never mentioned the crime that's been committed all over the country by people who simply hate this country, who've come here illegal, the violence, the illegal invaders, and many other ills that are plaguing the UK and Europe right now because of people like you who never mentioned what's happening to how the real people of this country are feeling. And I'm not just talking about white Caucasian people. I'm talking about people who have come here as migrants many years ago, whether they be black, brown, green, purple, it doesn't matter. They make their life, but they are suffering too. Jewish people who can't even go out. Jewish children can't wear their school uniform to go to school. Jewish businesses being attacked. People out on the street who hate prayers held in the street. 3,000 mosques in the UK, they still have to pray on the streets. What's that about? That is a show of strength. That's saying we can do it and you can't stop us. That is saying we're going to take you over. As it's all over TikTok. If I said some of the things that these preachers are saying on TikTok and X and other places, I would be arrested. Arrested. But they can say openly, they're going to kill all of us. You can either convert or die or pay jizya and we'll look after you. But if you don't pay, we'll kill you. We can have your women. And this is how every day I'm watching this and I'm thinking, why? One particular really radical guy in Birmingham now talking in the mosque, he's really come to the fore. I won't say his name. Check him out yourself, find him yourself. They come out with all this rubbish and they get away with it. And you get people getting arrested for just saying something a little bit hurty. Well, I don't agree with it. Now, also, Rachel Millward, one of the two of the backing, she's backing Zack Polanski, which we know that, we're not going there. Now, she's also serving as the deputy leader of Wealdon District Council. In a post, she attempted to ban fire by making all public events net zero and charged the council constituents to prevent Green cabinet members coming before scrutiny committees. So straight away, we can't be questioned because we're Green. Now, Millward also been referring to herself as the co-leader of Wealdon District Council. This is not true. The current council leader confirmed as much at a public meeting. Just the level of spin required for the high echelons of the Green Party politics. So in other words, she's a liar too. She wasn't the deputy leader and isn't the deputy leader. Right, so I got quite angry through all that. But do you understand now what you're doing? Are you stupid enough? Have you got 2 brain cells less than a fish to go and vote for people like that? Would you like to watch Prime Minister's Question Time with these people? Just like, could you imagine the Houses of Parliament with these people inside? And my honourable friend, I'm not your honourable friend, use my pronouns. I mean, come on, get a life. I've done enough for today, and I think you understand where I'm coming from. We've gone a bit, I like to keep it at 30 minutes, but I'm about 38 minutes right now. But you know why? This is crucial. This has to stop. There's been a little bit of background noise and a bit of a hustle and bustle, but I'm sure it won't spoil you listening to this. And also my hat keeps disappearing for some reason. That's why I keep doing this. Well, look, see, it's okay now. But anyway, you get the gist of it all. And as I said before, I don't get paid for any of this. I enjoy doing it. It's my how can I say, my contribution to what's going on in the world. And hopefully some people listen, because I'm old enough to know and stupid enough to know that things are not happening in the correct manner right now and things are going wrong. And it's got to stop. Stands have to be made and the country has to be saved. And it's not going to happen if you people out there don't start to vote for the right people. Now, finally, a bit of disruptive news, which I don't like. As you know, Nigel Farage has been campaigning. He's the one who started Brexit. It's never been done properly after him. He stepped down to let the Conservatives, and they made a complete hogwash of it. Fair enough. But But he was the one. He's worked for 20 years trying to change and get the sovereignty of England back, and he's now got a great party which believes in the sovereignty of the UK, securing the borders, and also stopping the illegal migration, and in a way that can be done, not a way of fantasy that we're going to do things like re-emigration and all that. He's going to do it in the right way, and that's, you know, oh, he's going to do what Donald Trump does, and no, he's not. He's going to, because we're British, we do things different. And he's not going to shut people out who've established a life here that contribute and work. He's going to make sure they're here. And he's not going to stop all immigration, because if we want doctors and nurses, we'll apply for doctors and nurses, not people who can't even speak a word of English and just come over and throw their passports away. No, we don't want that. And I'm a great believer in Nigel Farage and his new party reform. But two people which I had a lot of respect for, but now I'm losing my respect for, is Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe, who are now going to split off and make other parties, again splitting the vote more. And obviously, if they do what they say they're going to do, they're going to end up with a coalition government between, hopefully it's between them, because they'll have at least the same ideas, but it won't be. And I think Labour might even get back in again. So look, there can't be three right-wing parties vying for the same vote. We need one party, and a united party, and the person who's done the most, the person who's still doing the most, is Nigel Farage. Just Ben Habib, which I say, I respect the man greatly, he's a true patriot, as is Rupert Lowe. But they have to sit on their hands. They have to conform to reform. And they can't think of running a separate party. They won't have enough support. They haven't got candidates. They've not done the work. And it's going to let the wrong people. In fact, I've been talking about the Green Party, and the Green Party could actually take it off all of them. So, you people out there, grow some cojones, do the right thing, and I'm appealing to Ben, who I say I respect greatly, and Rupert Lowe, who I respect greatly. Do not destroy the movement, whatever you do, that's going to change the country. Because if you do, well, sayonara. Okay, my hat's disappearing again. Anyway, that's it for me today. The next one will be as soon as I can do one. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please give me some feedback. And you can watch it on Rumble, on Substack. Where else? On Kick. No, not on Kick. Well, there's other places. OC, yeah. Twitch. You can watch these videos on all the places. And as I say, I do it all myself. So sometimes if the technical things go wrong and my hat disappears, well, just that I do it. I'd like to buy new equipment. So on my Rumble, I've got a tip jar. You can stick some money in there if you want my buying equipment. Otherwise, I don't care. I will never stop doing it anyway. So until the next time, it's the old git saying, look, take care, think on, and we'll just play out with our normal bit of music. See you soon.